Welcome to Nerd Narrates, where I pick the best stories from the internet and share them with you. Let's begin the video. My mother, at 45, gave birth to me when she was 18. She dropped out of college to take care of me and took up small odd jobs to support me and my dad while he continued his education. My dad went on to become a doctor and take over the family finances after his education. My mom had quit most of her jobs by then and had only kept one. Life wasn't always comfortable for us, especially initially when my dad had just graduated and was undergoing residency. We lived from paycheck to paycheck. With time, things had gotten better and we started to lead a comfortable life. My mom quit her part-time job and we were able to buy and move into a house. Time passed and things continued as they were until I turned 12, and my mom got pregnant with my younger sister. We all were overjoyed to find out the new addition to our little family. My younger sister, let's call her Isabella, was born when I was 13. Things went from good to better when Isabella was born, as she lightened up our world and made me feel like I was gonna have a friend for when I grow older. Regardless of our age gap, my mother made sure to show us the same amount of love every single day. She took care of Isabella with utmost love until she turned 2. When I was 15 and Isabella was about the age of 2, we found out that our dad had passed away due to a car accident. This devastated our entire family, as we knew our dad to be an amazing person who supported us throughout everything. Understandably, it was my mom who was the most affected by the situation. My mom tried her hardest to stay strong for me and my sister throughout the situation, but unfortunately, she could not keep going and spiraled down into a hole of depression. This took a toll on the family and turned everything upside down, as now without the financial support of my dad, we had to downsize. We decided to leave the house and move into a small apartment where I thought my mom and I would support each other by getting a job. We also had the money we had received from my dad's insurance and believed that would make things easier. Even though I was only 16, I was working through the logistics of the situation, but sadly my mom had different plans. Even before I got to thinking of the insurance money, my mom had blown most of it away for her alcohol addiction that she had kept hidden. She developed it when she decided to get with her first boyfriend after my dad had passed away. Let's call him Alex for the sake of the story. Alex was a deadbeat who is also an addict. He has 2 children with his baby mama, who often he was in an on and off relationship with. Alex and my mom started dating, and it was like she had forgotten about me and my sister. She would only return home every morning when I had to leave for school and left home as soon as I came back, leaving me to take care of Isabella. So after that, I knew I was set up to take the guardianship of Isabella until my mom decided to get her act together, which I doubt she ever would. I spent my freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year of college taking care of Isabella. She was the age of 7 around this time, and it felt like I had watched her grow. After graduating high school, things hadn't changed at all. My mom still was addicted and jumped from one relationship to another. Yes, her and Alex had broken up when I was in sophomore year of school, although they had an extremely explosive and on and off relationship. Seeing them felt like how it would be to see a high school couple. They were extremely immature and definitely not in the condition to be parents. I knew my plans for college needed to be changed after all this, and I decided not to go to college due to my mom and also due to financial issues. Taking care of my sister was extremely tiring, and I wasn't able to participate in any extracurriculars or had gotten good grades to be able to get a scholarship. So I decided to do a few small courses from nearby institutions that would enable me to get a job. I worked on these courses while taking care of my sister and working another part-time job to be able to support her and myself. My mom had moved in with another one of her partners at that point. I get my courses done and land a job instantly. I started working and trying my best to work hard, all the while juggling multiple responsibilities. I worked hard as I knew that it was the only thing that could land me promotions, and fortunately it did. I landed a few promotions, and I'm able to now afford a decent lifestyle for myself and my sister. I've always wanted to go to college and study English literature. Thankfully, as my current career field revolves around writing, this job will be of benefit to me. Years have passed by as I continue to take care of my sister. My mother signed away her rights as a parent after she was found being irresponsible towards me, sister, when she was around 10. And understandably so, at this point, she has started to see me more as a mother than our actual mother. This is partially due to the fact that contact with my mom became very low as this soured our relationship, and now the only time she calls us is when she needs money. My sister is now 17, has received a scholarship for a great college a couple of states away. I am extremely proud of her, as I know she has gone through as much as I have to get where she is. Along with her, I've also been thinking about enrolling myself in college to get a degree, as it'll enable me a good chance of receiving a promotion. This plan had been going amazingly well, as I thought I had it all sorted out before I got a call from my mother. I thought this was just another call asking for money or crying over one of her breakups, but I was completely surprised to hear that she had called to inform me that she had given birth to a baby girl. She said that she did not need help as the father of the baby was Alex, and he was ready to pay child support, and although I was shocked and worried for the well-being of the baby, I decided to just let go under the pretext of, not my circus, not my monkeys. I decided to make sure to check up on my half-sibling every once in a while to ensure that my mother was on track with her quitting drinking, and surprisingly, she was. I was happy to see this and to know that she may be able to turn into the mother she once was to me and my sister. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case. 6 months had passed since my mother had given birth to my half-sister, and I wasn't able to catch up with my mom as I was pretty busy due to the fact that I was in the process of helping my sister move to her dorm in her university. I decided to stay a couple of days with my sister as her college was in a different state. I came back around this morning from my trip, and I was horrified to find the scene as soon as I walked into my house. The patio door was broken into. I saw a baby in a basket with a note lying beside the basket on the table that just said, "I'm sorry, but I can't do this." I was shocked and speechless as I realized who had done this. I picked up my half-sister, checked on her to see if she was okay. Thankfully she was. I decided to give her some food and a bath to make sure that she was warm and fed. Whatever my mom did was horrible. What scares me the most is the fact that if my mom had left my half-sister for too long here, it could have technically harmed her well-being. I went to file a report to the police for the damage she has done to my house and for abandoning her baby, but her condition makes me feel conflicted to take this decision, as I know my mom is suffering. WIBTA if I call the cops on my mother for trespassing and abandoning her child? Update 1. I've read all your comments and would like to thank you for all your suggestions. I've come to the conclusion that I do need to call the cops and put an end to Mother's terrible habit of giving up on her responsibilities. I first decided to have a talk with my mother, who wasn't ready to pick up her calls, so I drove myself to Alex's house with my half-sister to talk to her, as I knew there was a possibility that she would be there. I knocked on the door and was greeted by Alex's baby mama. She was surprisingly a sweet lady as she invited me in as soon as I told her I was here through my mom. We sat down over a cup of coffee, and I explained the entire situation to her. She was left shocked, and she revealed to me that her and Alex have been back together for over a year now. She tears up as she explains how Alex and her were set to get married before Alex met my mother. Alex has always struggled with addictions, but when he met my mother, he spiraled deep into it as he now had my mom to accompany him with it. This was heartbreaking to hear, as I clearly see Alex's children return home from school and greet me with much respect. They're almost of Isabella's age, and it aches my heart to see how many people's lives my mother and Alex had ruined. Unfortunately, though, even with all this information, she did not know where Alex and my mom would be. She told me that my mom had left the apartment she used to live in about 3 months ago, and that is when I had last seen her. So I had no option but to tell the cops. I go to the police station to report everything that happened. I started off from Bella and how my mother had technically abandoned her before explaining everything about my half-sister. I also tell them how I'm unable to contact my mother or her partner. The cops took note of this entire situation and informed me that I needed to file a report with the CPS, as this is a case of child endangerment and abandonment, which I did. So far, there has been no news of my mother. I will update you all when I receive more information. Update 2. The cops got a hold of my mother, who had fled a couple of cities away with Alex. She was found drunk in a bar by the cops along with Alex and was taken into custody. My mother confessed the abandonment of my half-sister to the cops and explained to them how I should be able to take care of my half-sibling just because I took care of my sister. The cops said that she showed a lack of remorse when she confessed to her doings. The cops have all the needed evidence, such as security footage of the day she broke into my house. The cops informed me that there was enough evidence to land my mother in jail and set up Alex for child support. You all may be wondering how my mother and Alex ended up a couple of cities away, and so did I. This was explained to me by Jane, Alex's baby mama, who told me that Alex had received a huge inheritance from his uncle and was also set to receive one from his parents. He had already blown through a lot of his inheritance during my mother's pregnancy, childcare for my half-sister, and the trip that they took after abandoning my half-sister. I feel extremely angry just by hearing how terrible of a mother my mom had become. It's heartbreaking to know that the woman you once had loved so much turned into a person you can no longer recognize. I hope jail can give her the reality check she needs. Regarding my half-sister, as I said earlier, I don't have it in me to raise another child all over again. I felt terrible for my half-sister, as she did not deserve to go through the foster system, so I decided to check if Jane was willing to look after my stepsister. Unfortunately, she was not, but she gave me a ray of hope by introducing me to her friends, who are a couple wanting to adopt their kids. I have set a meeting with them today and will continue having these meetups with them. If this doesn't work out, I'll also find other people who would potentially want to adopt her. Thank you so much for reading. NTA. Go file a police report now before your mother drops another baby to look after you. Your mom seems to have lost her mental stability ever since the death of your dad and needs to be put into therapy. I'm so sorry you had to lose your youth over this. You're an amazing sibling. NTA. Your mother needs to be put in jail for not only the abandonment of your half-sibling, but also you and your sister. She seems like she took the death of your dad very hard and let her lose herself into it. This does not excuse the things she put you and your sister through. Please take care, OP. Next story. I'm a mom, 23, with 2 kids. It's important to note that right now my husband is away to get a little bit of help. He's an amazing dad, so it's a little tough without him. It is just me and the kiddos right now. My daughter is 5 and loves staying the night at my sister's apartment. They watch chick flicks, eat pizza, do each other's hair, go out to breakfast, a ton of stuff. My sister knows my husband is gone and has been a huge help in his absence. I'll admit, without my husband, I am a wreck, but I put on a good show for my kiddos. I love being with my kids, but it's nice to let out some emotions when my daughter is gone. My sister has been a huge help. Yesterday, my sister was going to take her for the night. They were downstairs talking about what movies they were going to watch and where they would order pizza from. I thought they were on their way out, so I shut my door and laid in bed to let out some emotions. My sister came in, she saw me crying, and told me he doesn't deserve me and that she has a hot, rich coworker she'll introduce me to. I was pretty offended. My husband did not walk out or go to jail. He's getting mental help, and I made him do it. He didn't leave his kids or wife. I told my sister that was inappropriate and I have no interest in her friend or any other man. She got offended by this. My husband is pretty feminine for a straight man. He wears skinny jeans and oversized t-shirts. Chanel accessories, and sometimes he'll wear my perfume. He's aware of this. I have a smoking hot wife. I'll do whatever I want. I really have nothing to prove, he'll say. She called him a homophobic slur and said, yeah, 'cause I'm sure that effing F satisfies you in bed, right? You can tell he has a small D. I was disgusted. I told her I'm not comfortable with her around my kids anymore. I feel bad, however, for my daughter, and I feel like she's missing out on fun times, and it's really not her fault. She's clearly very mad at me. My sister has been so good to my daughter too, but it makes me nervous she'll hear my sister say things like this. I had no clue my sister was a bigot like this, but maybe she was just trying to help. AITA? Update. I have spoken with my daughter. I told her her auntie has said some really mean things about daddy and that she's going to take a break from going there. My sister refuses to apologize. She had brought up straight up irrelevant stuff to defend herself. Here is a copy paste of her text. I censored it a bit. He's insane. He's literally in a mental hospital. Why are you still with him? He's controlling you. He's been your B since you were 14. When will you open your eyes? My name. You've never smoked, drank, or done anything fun. He groomed you. You fell for his trap. He effed an 18-year-old and got you knocked up, then got lucky with a good job, and then you were stupid enough to have another kid with him. And you have the balls to tell me you want more? I'm not sorry for what I said. He's an F. You let him wear those fancy jeans and that jewelry. He's not a pop star. He's a delusional, crazy man. Please wake up. My husband is 18 months older than me. I'll see if I can find a picture of one of his typical outfits and put it on Reddit so you all can get an idea of his style. NTA. Your sister's thoughts are going to spill over onto your daughter eventually, and either she'll learn to hate your sister or learn to hate her father. Your sister is despicable and should keep her hate to herself. When your husband comes home, he deserves to return to a house of love and support, not a cold-hearted bigot who honestly sounds jealous that you're married with children. There's no reason you and your daughter can't have a pizza and movie night at your house. OMG. NTA. And while I'm very sad for your daughter, you really made the best decision because there's one thing that you're wrong about. Your sister may have been directly good to your daughter with pizza and movies, but this wasn't just your husband she was throwing around slurs about and insulting, it was your daughter's dad. She was saying horrible, awful things about that child's father, and then expecting to spend time with her and bond with her like that was NBD. If your daughter expresses upset, it's okay to talk to her about it in an age-appropriate way and just explain that her aunt said some really hurtful things and that she needs a bit of time out to think about why it's not okay to say things that hurt people. That sometimes grown-ups need breaks when they can't behave nicely too, and people who can't behave nicely don't get to have playdates. But however you decide to deal with it, let's be clear. Your sister was not just trying to help. Helping would be supporting you and helping you hold your family together while your husband is seeking help. Unless you specifically told her that your marriage was dissolving, seeking to break up your marriage, cause turmoil, and drive a wedge into your already struggling family is not help, it's mischief and troublemaking. And the proof of that is that she was so unbelievably disrespectful to the husband that you clearly love.